Gentlewoman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to be honest. This legislation is literally breaking my heart. And I want to tell you why. I'm a New Mexican, born and raised, and there is not a single family in the state of New Mexico that has not been touched by the addiction crisis. The opioid crisis, fentanyl, alcoholism. There is not a single family that I know that has not lost somebody to this crisis, including my own. And what I can tell you about this crisis is that the way that we address it is that we stop the flow of fentanyl coming into our communities, and we make sure that our family members and our friends who are struggling with addiction can get the help that they need. They are not criminals. They're our brothers and our sisters, our parents, our grandparents, our children. Do you know what it's like to have your child disappear to the streets, to addiction? We do not need to incarcerate these people. They need help. And the way that they get help is to actually get with an addiction recovery doctor or peer support or a clinic or somewhere where they can get sober. And so if my colleagues want to actually solve this crisis, we need to stop fentanyl from coming into the United States. We need to make sure that our communities can access care. And we need to save the lives and help the members of our family and communities who are trying to reclaim their lives from this crisis. That is how we solve this crisis. And that is why I cannot vote for this bill, because the way that this bill tries to address the crisis is through the exact same playbook that was used in the 1980s and 90s that led to the mass incarceration of our families and community members who were struggling with addiction. And while they're standing here trying to pass this bill, literally across town, the president and an unelected billionaire are gutting funding for our federal agencies. They're doing a purge of the FBI. You know who stops fentanyl from coming across the border? The FBI. So you want to solve the fentanyl crisis? You got to actually go to the heart of the matter, not mass incarceration of the people who are actually addicted. It's why I introduced the STOP Act. The STOP Act would actually empower the federal government to stop fentanyl at the border. It's why I'm investing millions of dollars in my state, local, and tribal law enforcement to make sure that they can actually stop fentanyl in our communities. It's why I've invested millions of dollars in my community in behavioral health centers and addiction recovery and to help peer support programs so that we can save lives. That is how you stop the fentanyl crisis. That is how we do it. But I can tell you the way that we don't do it is by empowering a billionaire who is not even an elected or a vetted official to gut our federal agencies. So I want to take a moment to talk about that. Yesterday, in the Oversight Committee, in the guise of trying to promote government efficiency, my colleagues across the aisle called a hearing. And when we asked for Elon Musk to come to our hearing and actually answer for what he is doing, they went out of their way to shut it down. What is going on in this country right now? They are gutting our agencies. They are defunding our agencies. They are holding up payments. Last week, as was said by the ranking member, they stopped payment for the very health clinics that will actually help to stop the fentanyl crisis. And they refuse. My colleagues refuse to do their most basic constitutional duty, which is to bring in an unelected and an unvetted official who is stealing their personal data and undermining the fundamental fabric of our democracy, our Constitution, and our institutions, and to hold them to account. So that is why myself and Ranking Member Jamie Raskin will be introducing legislation to hold Elon Musk accountable. Because nobody elected Elon Musk. Because we, the taxpayers, are going to be left holding the bag when he gets bored and moves on to his billionaire buddies. we're going to be the ones left in the wake of this crisis. We're the ones that are going to have our communities and our families decimated, and we will not stand for it. So respectfully, I will vote against this legislation, and we will continue to hold you to account.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from